I remember back in the 90s I visited a friend at his home, and he had these little weird blue guys. Those were Space Marines, and he explained it to me what it was. I set foot in the local hobby shop not long after and bought my first Warhammer minis. And every now and then I would get new things and start visiting the Games Workshop in Amsterdam with my dad. But then 2001 rolled around, and there was a movie about to release that would change everything. I remember seeing the White Dwarf where the Lord of the Rings game was announced in the Games Workshop. And I hadn't seen the movie yet, nor was I familiar with the Lord of the Rings. But the Fellowship of the Ring box grabbed my attention. This wasn't high fantasy like Warhammer, but more grounded in reality. And I loved seeing all the sculpts of all the characters of the Fellowship. I went to see the movie with my parents and sister, and everything changed there.
Over the bridge! Fire!
I remember that after the scene took place, the movie had an intermission, and I was just sitting there in the theater speechless after experiencing Gandalf's death for the first time.
You shall not pass!
And then the rest of the movie happened, and afterwards I was completely hooked. Lord of the Rings is amazing. I already had the Fellowship box, but quickly went for the starter box and dived deep into the game. Every Friday there was a local gathering where we would paint and play tabletop games, and quickly Lord of the Rings took over most of the group and people participating in it. Eventually, around 2006, I quit most of the hobby, only picking up some last pieces that eventually became pretty rare, like the metal Gandalf on card and the metal 3 Hunters. And I'm glad I did, because little did I know I would return to the hobby many years later.
Leave Sauron to me.
Around 2015, I walked past the Games Workshop right after seeing the Battle of the Five Armies movie. The man working at the store told me there wasn't much Lord of the Rings in the store and the game wasn't played as much. But I still did pick up a box of plastic dwarfs and some paints, but I ended up doing nothing with them. But then 2020 rolled around.
This pandemic has spread faster than any disease in modern history.
Angry mobs roam the city.
The CDC has quarantined the lower Midwestern region of the U.S.
Commitment, honesty, integrity, these are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella Beam.
Resident Evil 3 Remake was released in spring of 2020 and was considered so bad, governments worldwide decided to shut down and told their citizens to remain indoors and social distance from each other. In the beginning I just did what everyone else was doing, playing Animal Crossing. But since I was working from home, everything I did was on the computer and I needed a new hobby away from the whole digital world. And that's why I rediscovered my old Lord of the Rings stash from years prior. Me, along with a lot of other people, discovered that the Lord of the Rings game was thriving during these times. Building on the re-release they did in 2017 with a new starter box. And from there on out I started hoarding new stuff, gathering my old stuff, and got back into the miniature hobby completely. I expanded it with Cursed City. I was always fascinated by Necromunda in the 90s, so I decided to get into that. But my main love will always be Middle-earth.